doing that while I'm doing this. Okay, can folks see my screen? Anybody?
Yes.
People are quiet today. All right.
You're muted.
Yes.
Okay. So, pretty standard agenda. We're gonna welcome new people. We're gonna take announcements from elected officials and party leaders. We're gonna do our Club of the Year presentations and votes, as well as other announcements and reminders. Do we have any new clubs or presidents on the line today? You wanna unmute yourself and say hi, feel free.
Hi, this is Wayne Durnetz. I am replacing on an interim basis Diana Aguirre as club president for Torrey Pines Club. Diana has resigned her office due to her having moved to Carlsbad and is still active in our club as well as several others.
Great, thanks, Wayne. Is there anyone else would like to say anything? Any new club presidents or people working on chartering?
Hi, everybody. My name is Malik. I'm the president of the East County Young Democrats. We're not chartered with the county party yet, but we're still working on that. And I'm just excited to, stop in and just see how everything works.
Great, thanks, Malik. And then I see Ruby has her hand raised.
Sorry, Kate Bishop was supposed to be here. She's working on getting in here. So I'm VP of a club that we're chartering. It is a San Diego Democratic Alliance, Education Alliance. So I'm here on the fly, just sharing that we're working on chartering that. Okay, I'm Ruby Zamora Baker.
Great, thank you. Anybody else working on chartering a new club, or if you're a new club president? Okay. Well, welcome everyone. We look forward to having you at these moving forward. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, do we have any announcements from elected officials or party leaders? I see Doug Case.
Thank you. I'm Doug Case. I am the Political Affairs Director for Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins. It was a very busy week in the legislature, and I'll give you a very brief update of what happened this past week. The legislative leaders and the governor reached an agreement on a $9.6 billion state COVID relief. $2.3 billion of that will be in $600 payments to low-income Californians earning $30,000 a year or less, but also non-citizens who were not eligible for the federal relief are also available or are eligible for that package, those $600 checks. It also provides $2 billion in grants to small business owners, as well as nonprofits, some tax breaks for those enrolled in the Paycheck Protection Program, and $400 million in available federal funds to provide stipends of $525 per child enrolled in all state subsidized childcare. And then a couple of days ago, the legislature announced their Safe School and Reopening plan. The plan would send the state's most vulnerable students back to in-person instruction by mid-April, and require the county public health departments to make COVID-19 vaccines available on site to teachers and staff. And the bill also allocates a $6.5 billion, $2 billion, which should be used to reopen schools this academic year. And the other $4.5 billion would help schools cover the cost of extending their instructional school year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug. Michelle Krug.
Thank you for the unmute button. Good morning. I as the regional director for Area 20, a different hat than I'm wearing in this meeting. I just wanted to thank everybody for being so working with the CDP on some of the phone banking that we've been doing. I will be setting up, I hope to have it done no later than tomorrow night, a date for the CDP officer candidates to have a forum by Zoom here in San Diego within the next month. A lot of people have been asking about that. I'm sure you all know that the special election for AD 79 is scheduled for April 6th. If a majority of the voters, meaning if there isn't a 50% plus one candidate vote in that election, we will have a runoff on June 8th. If anyone is doing forums and they need, they're having trouble getting a hold of any of the there's only 4 Democratic candidates that qualified, call me. I'm happy to share their information. And I think that's it that I can think of right this second. I do want to put redistricting on everyone's mind, and that maybe it's something you can set up in your club to have a little bit of a session on what redistricting looks like for your area, or for your focus, and how that's going to make a difference on our state elections as well as our local elections. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Cody, one last thing. The CTA, California Teachers Association, is having a statewide rally on March 10th at 4:30 p.m. about charter schools throughout the state. And we here locally are having an issue around Gompers School Academy, which has elected to be unionized, but it's been 2 years. They still don't have their first contract. So I'm going to pass that. I will get that link over to Codi and ask her to pass that out about the March 10th. And we will be having a community meeting about our local situation. And I want to pass that out as well. Thank you.
Great. And then I'm going to call on Deborah from Region 18, if you wanted to say anything.
Yeah, hi, Cody. Thank you, everyone. Region 18, as you know, all the ADEMS lists have gone out, and I'm going to hold my regional meeting March 18th. Of course, it will be virtual. And as soon as all the regional directors receive the list of all the delegates, I'll get the formal email out with all the information. I'm trying to reach out to as many that I know are delegates now by phone to give them information. And then I'm encouraging everyone to get to as many forums as they can regarding the chair, vice chairs, controller, and secretary, so they can make an informed decision as to the election in the spring. And that's basically it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ehab, I see your hand raised. I don't know.
Yes, can I make an announcement as a newly elected e-board for 8077?
I would prefer if we leave the rest of those till the end, because that's just a lot of people that applies to. It's more just for our electeds. So if you can hang on to that, folks. And then if there were none others for this, we'll go ahead to the next part. Sorry, my Zoom controls got away from me when I reshared my screen. So just a reminder, at our last meeting, we elected 2 at-large members of the Club Development Committee. Those are Katie Meyer and Jehoan Espinoza. These folks are going to be working with all of you on, anything that you need related to club development, as we discussed last month. And here we go. So I put this up, and I'll add this to the chat, but I created a form for folks to fill out and just kind of give their thoughts on what they would like to see as topics for future Council of Clubs meetings. I put down a bunch of stuff just that I know folks have asked about before, or maybe we've done before and people might want a refresher on, but feel free to put something else in the other. And I'm going to go ahead and put this link in the chat. I can grab that real quick. This whole screen sharing thing is not the most conducive. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the chat right there. So if folks want to take a minute to fill that out, please do. You do not have to rank your choices. I feel like that would be really complicated with how many topics there are. So just go ahead and check whatever you're interested in. It's difficult for me to monitor the chat right now. So if anyone has any questions, you know, go ahead and raise your hand, or if you could DM Jehoan, who's helping me with managing the meeting. I can't see my direct messages that well. So Club of the Year 2021. Just a refresher on what Club of the Year is. You know, basically we give recognition to clubs that have set an example for other clubs through innovative programs, community outreach, political influence, growth, and positive impact on its community. So we, you know, ask folks that are nominated to produce sort of, you know, a report of some sort that kind of details, you know, what they've done in the past year. Some of those things that are recommended are number of meetings held, new members gained, members renewed, you know, members in attendance at meetings, participation in Go Team, voter registration, you know, what type of programs they've had, and their participation at Council of Clubs. But they are more than welcome to provide other topics. We did have 3 clubs that were nominated this year, which are the Latina Democratic Club, the Escondido Young Democrats, and the San Diego Progressive Democratic Club. So I'm gonna double check who's on here right now. I believe, Melinda, are you here to present for the Latina Dems? If you're there.
Yes, but Brenda's also here, and she's the VP. So
Okay.
I would feel more comfortable if the VP did it. If that's okay.
I just had Griselda tell me that you were doing it, but if Brenda wants to do it, that's fine by me. Maybe I'll come back to you if the two of you just want to connect on that.
Okay.
And then I see Gloria. Are you able to present for Escondido Young Dems?
Yeah, I can. Or Kevin can go first if Kevin's down. That's chill with me.
Okay. Kevin Lorenz.
Sure, I can go.
Okay. Do you have slides, or would you like to just show your video while you present?
I have slides.
Okay. Give me one sec. I am going to make you a co-host so you can share your screen. All right. Go ahead whenever you're ready. And I'm giving clubs about, 10 to 15 minutes to present, and then we'll also have time for questions.
Alrighty. Okay. Trying to get this up. All right. Is that coming in nice and clear?
Yes, it is.
All right. So yeah, I just became, I think I got the notification beginning of last week, about being nominated, which I had no idea anyone was going to do. And on top of job searching, I made the best use of my time I could this week to get this together. So if the presentation looks a bit janky, please forgive me. And this presentation isn't complete, so the very end will be more verbal. All right. So yeah, this is our presentation for the Progressive Club. So first off, we want to start with an overview. And then these are numbers that are just going off of Act Blue, or they're the best numbers that I could pull on relatively short notice. In 2020, we had 139 renewed members and 83 new members. We had 11 general membership meetings in the 2020 year. We only missed April while we were transitioning to Zoom. Our elections were in June. They were supposed to be in April, but because we were transitioning, we had to hold off until June on our officer elections. And everything went well. It turned into a 5-hour meeting because every single position was up on our e-board, whereas other clubs of our size tend to stagger their officer positions, something we are actually fixing next month. We tend to have 40 to 70 attendees per general meeting. I think at 1 or 2 meetings we went above 70, but it really depends on the day. We tend to host our meetings at Elijah's Delicatessen, but then moved to Zoom starting in May. And then while that is our logo, which I'll have in the upper right corner every slide, I also have some other concept art that Luca Barton did for us back when he was in office. All right, so we'll start with our meetings and program. Beginning in January, we did host a training on running a good volunteer program, from best canvassing practices to recruitment and organizing, which was done by club officers / Raul Campillo field staff, Christina Capella and Dancha Castillo. It was a wonderful beginning of the year. And then the very next month in February, we brought in 8 of our endorsed or qualified candidates to make one last pitch for volunteers before the primary, since the primary was in March. And then members were able to sign up through link, sign up right there in the meeting for campaigns of their choice going into GOTV. And then in the March meeting, we kind of kept this one a little short and relaxed because it was literally a week after the primary. It was just an informal debrief on wins and losses, a very informal discussion. But mainly we presented our expectations for officer roles, since we were supposed to have our elections the following month in April. And then of course, COVID hit like a tsunami, and we had to cancel our elections in favor of figuring out Zoom and testing all the functions of Zoom out. All right, I'm trying to get rid of this Zoom thing that keeps getting in the way of my slides. Okay, there we go. So then starting in May, it was our first meeting in the COVID era. The screenshot from that very first meeting, we actually still have as our cover photo on Facebook. While I know a lot of the members, while a lot of us miss being in person and seeing each other, we have definitely noticed an increase in attendance numbers, and doing our meetings remotely has resulted in greater accessibility. So for our very first meeting, it was for COVID, it was one of the biggest of 2020 with 65 plus attendees. It was a roundtable on outreach during COVID, which was kicked off by Ellis Rose of the San Diego Regional Task Force on the Homeless. He gave us a summary. on what homelessness was like in the early months of COVID. We also had Loxie Gant from Hotel Vouchers for All telling us about what that effort needed, along with Amy Zamudio and Tasha Williamson. We had Holly Herring, who's a crisis counselor from the Community Resource Center in North County, telling us about what North County needed, what their homeless population needed from us. And then finally, we had Christina Griffin-Jones from We All We Got San Diego, which is a mutual aid group, letting us know of opportunities and ways that our club members could help out people in need there in the first few months of the pandemic. And then if that wasn't enough, we also had passed a few resolutions that night, including one supporting the dissolution of the E-Verify process, which is a rather discriminatory background check process. And we also heard a resolution on law enforcement disparities and protests reflected by institutional racism. By that point in April, we were starting to see the predominantly white reopen protests, and it was, it's been very obvious what the differences between that and police accountability protests have been. And then finally, Ryan Trabucco of Democrats for Equality gave us a very in-depth breakdown on progressive wins in the March primary, and we were able to squeeze that all into one meeting. Next up, we had officer elections in June. We had almost 100 attendees at this one. Of course, it was 5+ hours, as this is the first time we really put our Zoom functions to the test. Nothing broke down on us. It just took a while to get through each position and run the typical parliamentary procedures of an in-person meeting for every single officer position. And then the next month in July, it was a bit of a roller coaster of a meeting. We had some challenges to our consent calendar, but we also passed a resolution in support of HR 2407, promoting of human rights for Palestinian children living under Israeli Military Occupation Act, which was presented to us by Dr. Ihab Shahada. Thank you again, Dr. Shahada, for that. And then in August, we hosted it was a big criminal justice night. We hosted a presentation by organizer and club officer Jean-Louis Tron on Proposition 17, 20, and 25. Of course, we endorsed yes on 17 and 25 to enfranchise people who have left prison, and yes on 25 to end cash bail. And of course, no on 20, which was pushed by the correctional officers. And then right after that, we had a forum as well as endorsement on San Diego City Attorney. It was a very educational, a lot of great questions asked by the membership hour-long forum between Corey Briggs and Mara Elliott's campaigns, which ended in a qualified rating for Corey Briggs. And the very next month in September was our Proposition Palooza. We wanted to squeeze in all of the rest of the propositions on the ballot. And so Jean-Louis came back and presented on all the remaining ballot propositions. And he did a magnificent job. And then we, of course, endorsed a yes on Props 14 through 21, 23, and then no on 22 and 24. And then finally, we also endorsed resolutions that night on opposing international sanctions, courtesy of David Wright, and demilitarizing police, courtesy of Dr. Shahada. And then in October, it was GOTV time. So very similar to what we did in February for the primary, we asked our endorsed candidates to come in and recruit and schedule our members for GOTV shifts. Of course, instead of clipboards going around, our candidates were able to just drop Google Forms and sign up sheets and links right there into the chat for our Zoom meeting. And we were able to get a lot of members signed up for GOTV shifts for that final month going into the election, which was pretty awesome. And then for November, what was next for our endorsed candidates? We asked our endorsed candidates to come back one last time, win or lose, just to let the club know what's next, and if elected, what their first priorities are in office. We don't just want to forget about our candidates because they didn't happen to win. They are members of our club. And we also, that night, we also happened to add a volunteer requirement for membership renewals, which will apply next for this coming year. So in addition to attendance and paying dues, each of our members has to fulfill a volunteer requirement by the end of this year, which could be member recruitment, voter registration, phone banking, or another approved opportunity. I believe one opportunity we have coming up is a letter writing campaign, which we'll be notifying members about in the future. That way we can actually help our candidates and make sure our members are being active with the club. And then finally, in December, we had a presentation on ADEMs. The ADEM races, of course, were in January, where those of you who voted were voting for delegates who are going to be voting in the 2022 election cycle. So it was really a productive year, despite COVID. We began the year getting our members, ready and situated to help our endorsed candidates in the March primary, and we ended it educating our members on how ADEMs work and how it affects races for the next election cycle. So we just transitioned between both election cycles over this year. Cool. And then in terms of political action, by November, we had 30 endorsed candidates, 4 of whom were current or past officers of the club. We had Elizabeth Virtue running for Assembly, Cheryl Robertson for Lemon Grove School Board, Kate Bishop for Chula Vista Elementary School Board, and Alan Gerasi, who ran for San Marcos City Council. And then for other efforts, a lot of our efforts have been centered more on calling into San Diego City Council for different things. And this included against granting an extension to Sempra's franchise agreement, which we partnered with Public Power SD to do. We were calling against Mayor Falconer's 2020 budget, allocating CARES Act funding to the police. We were trying to pressure an end to the Smart Streetlights program, for which we were successful. We also called in favor of placing an independent police review commission on the ballot, which ended up being Measure B. And then we were also in favor of extending the eviction moratorium. And then, of course, finally, to elect Monica Montgomery Stepp as council president, partnering with the Monica Perez Coalition. And then I almost forgot about this one, so I slid it in really quickly. Please follow the arrow. We were calling into state senate earlier in the year for Assemblywoman Weber's ACA 5, which was affirmative action. And then in terms of our efforts for our candidates, I ran out of time to put in more because I think there were 1 or 2 more things we did. But we consistently notified events to our membership for our endorsed candidates, including Bernie Sanders' campaign. We did have a canvass with Joe LaCava for City Council back in January, with which we partnered with Democrats for Environmental Action. We had a Halloween phone bank with Sarah Davis and Liz Virtue for Assembly, for which we partnered with Sunrise Movement San Diego. We had 2 sign wavings with David Arambola and other local candidates in Lemon Grove. And then we took part in the virtual campaign kickoff for Tara Lawson Reamer. Cool. And then, yeah, this is kind of the part where I ran out of time, which is fine. But basically, we also took part in some philanthropy. We were able to donate $500 to the party's toy drive, which we were happy to do. And then we were also happy to assist the hotel vouchers for all effort earlier in the year. In addition to donating to them as a club, we also encourage members to help out hotel vouchers either by donating food, donating packaged food, or making dinners, which I know 1 or 2 of our members did. And then in terms of, I'm missing one other thing. I know I've got less than 2 minutes here. Social media wise, we have over 1,600 people, I believe, following our Facebook. We have about 200 people following our Instagram. And then in terms of membership milestones, we had quite a few members running for ADEMs and win. I know that's more January, but we started, we had our members announcing their candidacies before the end of last year. And then we also had a few members become DNC delegates, both for Bernie Sanders and for Joe Biden at the convention, virtual convention that would have been in Milwaukee. And so that's pretty much it. I wish I had a little more to squeeze in for all of you. Yeah, that's pretty much it for my presentation. Do we have questions now or afterwards, Cody?
I think if there's some questions now, I'll do that. And I'll also leave a little time for questions after all the presentations, just in case that, makes anyone think of anything. So does anyone have any questions for Kevin? Please raise your hand.
And then before I take a questions quick, I also wanted to mention that I wasn't even able to even start digging into our chapters and everything they did. That would have taken another half a week, I think, which is time I didn't have. Yeah, we have our chapters, each of whom I think have had at least 6 or 7 meetings this past year, and each of them have been wonderful. Our South chapter at the beginning of the year actually took part in a really well-attended 53rd congressional race forum before the March primary, where I think all but 1 or 2 of the candidates showed up to that, which was really wonderful. And then the rest, our other chapters of the Northwest and East have also done wonderful things as well.
So I saw, is that Sinara asked in the chat about how the club runs the regional caucuses or chapters. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else to that.
Sure. We've had our chapters for I think around 3 years now. On paper they are standing committees, at least according to the party they are, because the party has yet to have bylaws recognizing the chaptering of clubs, which is understandable because we have 4 chapters. The veteran Dems have 1 in North County, I believe. So yeah, I think chaptering has not been around long enough for county bylaws to recognize them or their autonomy for that matter. So on paper, they're standing committees, but then practically they're essentially, they act as their own clubs. The only things that are a little different is that they don't endorse, they pre-endorse, kind of like the area caucuses for Central Committee do. And then those recommendations go on consent calendar at the main club the following meeting.
And then Kate had a question. Kate? Kate?
Sorry, we tried to unmute me at the same time. Apologies. I just wanted to clarify one thing. The South and the East chapter went together to actually coordinate that 53rd candidates forum that was very well attended, and we had, of the 14 candidates, we had 11 of the 14 candidates. They barely fit on the stage, but also we've had some really well attended panels, including one on Earl McNeil, one on education and the situation with teachers unions. And one of my favorites, LGBTQ electeds, how to be an elected person, an LGBTQ elected person, and what people have had to deal with as being one of those people. But we focus on panels in the South. Thanks.
Yeah, no, and thank you for that, Kate. As you can all, my presentation was 14 minutes. As you can all tell, if I had more time to put together everything all 4 of our chapters had done as well, we would be here for probably 30+ minutes just for Progressive Club. The North had Nina Turner come once. We had our East chapter recently here, the Debt Collective, which is an organization that buys student loan debt and then forgives it. And then at our West chapter, I think one of their biggest presentations of this past year was bringing in Tommy Howe to speak on the Rewild Mission Bay effort, which is to rehabilitate Mission Bay. So yeah, our chapters have done a lot of wonderful things as well.
All right. Any other questions for Kevin? Okay. Well, thank you, Kevin. And then, so I believe Melinda was gonna do Latina Dems and Gloria. I don't know if anyone has a preference for going next.
I can go next.
Okay, great.
I'm teaming up with Justin, by the way.
I can make you a co-host if you want to share your screen, or
Yes.
Justin. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the one sharing the screen. Sorry.
I made you co-host.
Sounds good.
Excited to see next slide, y'all. So excited.
There we go. Can y'all see?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, first off, I want to thank y'all, whoever nominated us. Thank you. And I'm really happy to be here to brag a little bit about UID. So a little bit about the Escondido Young Democrats. This is all we've accomplished in 2020. And I do want to note that everything past March 2020 is virtual, other than direct actions, food distributions, lit drops, and everything else that we did. And I do want to describe these little pictures that I got here for those who can't see. This was a little bit like towards the end of 2019. I think it might have been like December when we had the convention, and we brought a lot of our young Dems here to the CCAE, the California Center for the Arts, that the San Diego County Democratic Party had. I also got to do a presentation there too, so that was cool. That was like the first presentation I got to do for the party. Here's a few of us at the North County Women's March. I believe that was like January of 2020, and here we are with a couple of cute signs. I got a little resist sign. And next slide. So I wish I had better data about our members, but I can tell you now that our members, we have a diverse membership that consists of mainly students. We got a few lawyers or pre-law students, a lot of educators. I was surprised when I was actually looking at the names on our list, and I was like, hey, like we got a lot of teachers and people who work in schools. So we're getting them connected to start organizing within their unions. Essential and healthcare workers, laborers, young parents, and a good chunk of DACA recipients, and they're all between the ages of 14 to 35. We elected a DNC Bernie delegate, so that was me. And we elected 2 central committee members, also me. I was the highest vote getter, no biggie. And Jehoan Jimenez, and we appointed 1 alternate. Let me see Marissa right here. And 2 of us now serve on the e-board of the STCDP. Ooh. And this was in 2021, so this month, but we did elect 3 new members, and I can brag about that again next year. Here's us. I think that was 2019 too, so that's probably an old picture. But here is us having a presentation for how we could connect resources to like our immigrant community. Here are our young Dems that we took to convention. I know that's again 2019, but I still wanted to highlight that. Oh, Tamika. There we go. Oh, electoral and voter outreach. We did have a primary ballot party with a few grassroots groups, a general ballot party, a few meet and greets with our endorsed candidates, and a California ballot measures education, just so we could get our membership acquainted with what would be on their ballot when it came to ballot measures. This little picture right here was us during the primary debate watch party. And I wish I had the picture of all the students we got, because we got a good amount of people to come out. And then this was I think just the ballot party during the primary. And you see us here with a few signs of our endorsed candidates and a few presidential candidates as well. Next slide. And here's a couple more pictures of, oh shoot, of our electoral outreach. We were very fortunate and lucky to have a presidential campaign have an office in Escondido, which was Bernie's campaign. So we did have many of our members like go out and canvass for Bernie. Here's us canvassing from our camp in Adjourn in the 50th district. Here's a little picture of me with canvassing for Olga Diaz, and a few of our members canvassing for more of our endorsed candidates like Don Greene and Nina Deerfield. So I will pass over this next half of the presentation to Justin. On to the next slide.
Hello, everyone. I just turned on my camera. It's that kind of morning. And so we do really great community outreach. We have done something really fantastic through our civic educations. We've taught young Dems how to contact their reps at the local with Jean Hui-Chen. We had a Q&A with labor leaders, and immediately after that, well, actually throughout the year, we had regular city council meetings where we streamed, and then we had a discussion about what happened afterward, which was really great via Zoom. We've had multiple educations on the function of city management, boards and commissions. We've talked about the different levels of state government, so state, county, and city. And then we've also met about redistricting and the census education collaboration with other grassroots organizations. Next slide. There's a picture of me in a mask with our treasurer, Marissa Allen. We did multiple food distributions throughout the year, collaborating with the San Diego Labor Council and Universidad Popular, which was really great to help feed a lot of hungry people. We noticed that there was a spike in hunger due to COVID, which I'm sure many of us on this call have also seen and or felt. Next slide. So along with continuing our community outreach, we also hosted socials every Saturday where from 3 to 6 p.m. that is more of our like elected official hour where we have candidates and party leaders come in and discuss things that they're doing and just kind of get to know our membership a little bit more. But afterward, we usually play games, stream news, karaoke. I've definitely sung my heart out to Country Roads more than 20 times at this point.
Oh my gosh.
We have had movie screenings, which have been really productive. We've had one about Fahrenheit 11/9. We've had Inglourious Bastards. We've had a volunteer appreciation in November. And in December, we had a holiday game night. And so all of these things really came together month by month, sometimes week by week with the weekly socials to bring people from all over the state and all over the county together so we can sort of bond and create a good sense of community. Next slide. So now we're moving to our political outreach. We have taught our membership how to lobby, i.e. annoy the electeds, for good reasons at the city, county, state, and federal level with fast actions. We've shown people how to do call-ins, social media blasts, public comments, letters to the editor, press releases, petitions, and we've done that to great effect. We've helped people orient themselves with issues or issue-based topics such as justice reform, affordable housing, Medicare for all, environmental action, COVID protection enforcement. And we've had an outstanding 375 public comments with a coalition of grassroots youth organizations for justice reform in our city. Next slide. Oh, and you see pictures of Olga Diaz and when we were campaigning for her for supervisor. And then below we see a picture of one of our members, Nettie, and another one of our members, Joe, with our president, Gloria. And they are at I think, a Mar Camp-Najar event.
It was Golden Hall.
Okay.
So we were with where the press was, so yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yes,
Yeah.
we'll see. Doing fantastic stuff like that. They look great. Next slide. Okay, so now we have my favorite thing, which is direct actions. So we have hosted No War with Iran rally, which had over 100 plus participants in January. In February, we hosted the Reject the Cover-Up rally, which had 150 to 200 participants. And then in June, we had a collaboration with grassroots youth groups for the Black Lives Matter and ESCO rally, which had 1,000 plus participants. We collaborated with grassroots youth groups for COVID protection caravans on Grand. So you can see here, there's some of our protests, direct action right in front of the Fat Burger. We have the Black Lives Matter protest, obviously in June. That was pretty prolifically attended. And you can see the Escondido City Hall like arches in the back, which I think makes that photo extra sweet. And it was organized primarily by 17-year-olds. So Young Dems really led the charge, I believe. Next slide.
Oh, that's it.
Okay, so yeah, that is essentially our club. We have done a lot of community outreach, and we've really focused on giving people sort of a place to call home when social distancing and COVID have gotten in the way of human connection. We've helped people network and build trust and realize the Democratic Party can be a very welcoming and diverse place when you have wonderful leadership at the front. So Gloria has really built a people power movement that has brought out the best in us. So I cannot, again, say thank you enough to Gloria.
Oh, thank you. And it's definitely not just me, it's us. We would not be able to do half the work that we do without it being membership driven. So I just want to give them a shout out. So, yeah, if y'all have any questions about like how we operate, anything I need to go into more detail about. I know, like I said, I didn't have like awesome data, but yeah. So. Oh, and thank you, Nadia. I saw your message. No questions?
Any questions? Going once. Going twice. Oh, Heather.
Thanks, Gloria. That was a great presentation. So you have a lot of turnout for your direct actions. I was taking notes, but I didn't quite get what your general membership is. I know, like when Kevin gave his presentation, he had a lot. He had membership, he had social media, things like that. And I know you're younger, so I'm just curious if you know what some of those numbers are, because you had really good turnout for those direct action events.
Yeah, so for those direct actions, I think like our members like helped like kind of mobilize them to like happen, and like really just got out to like their networks and shared whether it be by email, text, social media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But our membership like numbers right now, I think are like 40 members, or it's like between 40 and 50. But like people who actually like show up to meetings like consistently are like 15 to 20 people. And as for socials, it dwindles a little bit from our membership because they all work on the weekends. But yeah, like I said, I wish I had better data on that. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
remember, I think the best way to answer you is that like it's between 40 to 50.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great turnout for only having 40 to 50 actual members. So congrats.
Yeah. Thank you. We wouldn't be able to do it without the collaboration of other grassroots groups. So I'm glad that Justin kind of highlighted that. We do work with, and the groups that we worked with are We the People in Escondido, Escondido Coalition of POC. We have worked with North County Sunrise Movement and countless like other youth groups. So we would not be able to do that without that coalition that we're building, still building here in North County. So.
What? Justin, your hand is raised. Were you gonna?
Oh yeah, I was gonna add to that, but I didn't want to accidentally talk over people. Okay, so I guess we were a little bit more humble than I think maybe we should have been in our wonderful presentation. So I want to highlight a few things. Some of our membership got their first ever political jobs in 2020 and worked on campaigns. I myself was a campaign manager for Dr. Tiffany Boyd Hodgson, who got elected, and one of our members, Kevin Stevenson, worked with Vanessa Valenzuela on her city council race. Our president, Gloria Conejo, worked successfully on Stephen Whitburn's case, race, excuse me, for D3. But we also had a lot of our membership phone bank, and I don't know about anyone else, but as a young Dem, phone banking was really a hard, intimidating thing for me. But I felt so empowered by my club that I ended up like phone banking for 10 different campaigns.
I just want to add, we would phone bank during our hangouts between 3 to 6 during general, like we wouldn't stop, so.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I would be remiss if we didn't mention that. And we got our Young Dems involved with the more established Escondido Democratic Club. I actually got elected as their secretary. And we're encouraging more of our membership to get involved at every level because Young Dems have a place in our party and our presence is growing and it's a good thing. And all of that wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for that asking Young Democrats to show us that there are ways forward. So thank y'all.
Cool. Thank you, Justin.
Looks like Wayne has a question.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Justin and Gloria for their work and their presentation. I'd like to ask both of them about the formation and organization, the initial organization of the Young Dems Club. Justin just mentioned that there was perhaps some help from the Escondido Dem Club. Can you tell us what were the motivating forces for the Young Dems in Escondido to get organized?
Yeah, of
How
course.
did you go about doing it? What help did you get?
Yeah, of course. So after, and this like happened after I was interning on Amar Campanajár's campaign for Congress in 2018. Towards the end of that, we had a few volunteers and interns that were interested in like continuing to be involved. And all these people like were from our community too, so it made it even better. To like reach out to like their networks, like whether it be like old classmates, old coworkers, family members. It's just like, hey, like bring like 5 friends to this next meeting that we have going on for our very first meeting. And I think that was like our most high attended meeting. So that's how we first got initiated with founding the club. We did have help from the Escondido Democratic Club, and they did help us with chartering. And I do want to give a shout out to Jehoan Espinoza. Jehoan did help found the Escondido Young Democrats, so shout out to Jehoan. Gibran Jimenez, who is our VP. And we really like kickstarted it after those first few months, and we just kept going and running. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, that's very good. Thanks, Gloria. Justin, did you have anything you wanted to add?
As for, I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of our phenomenal members. My first meeting, I was terrified because I was very new to politics. And one of our members, our treasurer, Marissa Allen, she is often the first person to greet people and sort of, you know, help them wade the waters into our club and make it very welcoming. So I just wanted to highlight her. I think she is a lot of people's first positive, you know, non-business oriented interaction before COVID. She definitely was for me. So I want to highlight her for a second. She's so calm and so nice. So I want to bring that up.
Thank you both.
Oh, I do want to keep bragging about Marissa. Marissa actually had this awesome idea of creating like a point system for volunteering. And like, I guess like the point system really just detailed like, or like had our members be like, oh, hey, like you do a certain number of shifts, like you get first through like 3rd place, you get like a t-shirt or you get like tickets to something. Like unfortunately we didn't have like a great turnout for volunteering towards like the end of the general election because everybody was really pretty burnt out. I think the winner of that was Kevin Stevenson. Was it Justin? Yeah, Kevin Stevenson, because I did send him a Green New Deal t-shirt. So that was a good way to like motivate like the few folks that we did have continue volunteering. Another shout out to Nettie Velasquez. She's also one of our members and badass organizers who really like stepped in and helped us.
Final question real quick. What's the age range of your membership now?
Now, it tends to lean a little like older Young Dem, so like 24 to like 35. And we do have like I don't know, like 5 to 10 like high schoolers. So that's a couple of 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds.
Thanks.
I think Michelle, you got your hand up.
Yeah. I was waiting for Cody to call me. I don't want to be out of line.
Oh, sorry, Cody.
I wanted to know what your favorite activity has been, like what really like moved you, because you always walk with passion on anything that you get involved with, and that group has just been so over welcoming. They make such a point, and I love to see that, because it really is a safe harbor in our Democratic Party. So I just wondered that, and I believe you also have done work when you were talking about coalitions with Universidad Popular.
Okay, so your question is like what really like inspires me personally, like to keep like moving the club forward? Is that what you're asking, Michelle?
Yes, favorite activity that you guys did. Like what really moved you with the like what was the favorite thing out of the rallies, out of the meetings, out of the hangouts?
I am going to say one of the biggest like events that had like an impact on me that we helped collaborate with, which I like, and I don't like really want to take a lot of credit for, but like I do want to say that like we did help a lot of those young organizers that were in high school help mobilize was the Black Lives Matter protest here in Escondido. Because I don't know if like y'all were aware, but we did. So here's kind of what happened. There were two protests. There was one, I'm going to say quote unquote protest, because it wasn't really a protest in my opinion. It was a staged thing with our electeds and the police chief. Which is fine. They wanted to show their solidarity for Black Lives Matter, but like, I noticed that there wasn't really stakeholders there. There was, but there wasn't that real action behind like the young people that were like really like having like the actions happen during the summer. So there were some high schoolers that approached the Escondido Young Democrats and were like, hey, like how can we like best go about it? And so we're like, okay, like, I don't know, like, here are some folks that we know that you can contact, from the Racial Justice Coalition. I know the Racial Justice Coalition was there at the electeds one. So I do want to give them a shout out for that. Don't want to take away from that. But, like, here are like some folks from this coalition, from this like group and from this group, and they can, like help facilitate y'all with that, and connect y'all. And so it was just crazy to see these like high schoolers like just kind of like take initiative and see like how like massive like their rally got. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the high schoolers like really like revamped my like hope that I have for racial justice in North County. So yeah.
I'm gonna tag on to that real quick. So I am an introverted person, and before EYD, I had a really bad social anxiety disorder that like made me very much a hermit. I went to school and I went to work, and that was it. My favorite thing about the Escondido Young Democrats is our weekly socials. That has really helped me manage my own anxiety, and it caused me to run for office, which is something I would never do. I mean, it was an ADEM seat, but it's still, I ran for something and I won. But my these socials are my favorite thing, because when I was growing up in Escondido as a queer person, there weren't any real safe harbors for people like me. And so it makes me really happy when we have high schoolers, when we have more seasoned Democrats, and when we have our membership all coming together and we can bond over things like Marvel movies or speculative fiction. We can talk about so many wonderful things and grow. It's also a safe and a brave space where we can have discussions that are complicated or nuanced. There have been times where I've had to be called in and, That I think is really remarkable. I don't think there are other spaces that I'm aware of, or at least that I'm a part of in the Democratic Party, that do things kind of like the socials do in the EYD. So they are my favorite. I've grown so much as a person, and I feel like so many of our membership has too. So I'm a really highlight that social.
All right, I see a hand raised by Tamika.
Good morning, everybody. My question is, how diverse is your board? And when I mean by diverse, I mean demographically from the parts of Escondido, as well as race and gender and sexual orientation.
Yeah. So if I could just pull up my board right now. We have one vacancy, and that's the communications. So it is, we have like 6 board positions in total, but we only have 5 right now. We have 4 people of color, 2 women, 3 LGBTQI members, and 1 non-binary folk. So we could be doing always a lot better, and I do want to point that out. Oh, Kelly's in the waiting room.
All right, anyone else? Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you, Gloria and Justin. And then I'm gonna call up.
Sorry, I have one more thing to say, because I did not give Grace Lashley a shout out. Grace Lashley was the high schooler that really rallied that Black Lives Matter, those Black Lives Matter actions here in Escondido. And so just wanted to give that quick shout out to Grace Lashley. She's a high schooler, so that's it.
Thanks, Gloria. Okay, I'm gonna call on Melinda Vasquez. Melinda, are you there?
Yes, I am. I have a presentation as well, if you want to share that with me.
I made you a co-host, so you should be able to share.
Okay. I may have
the green share screen button at the bottom.
Yeah, the one that's actually highlighted. There we go. Okay. So I think you guys can see I'm on the board of the Latino Democratic Club.
We don't have your screen yet. If you.
Oh, I shared it. Oh, I highlighted it on my side, but I have to click the blue button. All right. Now, can you see it?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So hi, everybody. My name is Melinda Vasquez. I'm a member of the Latino Democratic Club. I'm an at-large member. And we have a newer club. It's about 1.5 years old. So I wanted to thank you for whoever nominated us as for Club of the Year. It's an honor. Unfortunately, our president Griselda wasn't able to make it, but of course Brenda is always around. She's our VP, and she's attending the meeting today as well. The mission of our Latina Dems is to help develop leadership within the Latina community and get Latinas elected. Those of you know that it's really difficult for any group to any person of color to get elected, especially if you're a female. And so this group was created in order to specifically help Latinos get elected and put into office or into any other type of leadership position that they want, whatever their process is. The vision of the club is to empower Latinos to participate in the political process by increasing Latino representation. And that, like I said earlier, that pertains to elected office, central committee, delegate to the state party, etc. This is our executive board. So Griselda Ramirez, Brenda Aguirre, Giovanna Amargo, Paola Martinez Montes, Nidia Castaneda, and then myself. As you see, we have a couple of at-large seats as well as VPs, but we have a pretty small board. And we are having our election for our new e-board next month. So, or sorry, in March, we're having our e-board election. So it will change, it may change a little bit. Our first meeting was July 19th, and now we've successfully grown our club by 77 members. Like most people that are trying to grow membership during the COVID era, it's been at times challenging, and then other times it makes it a lot easier for people to join. So we're noticing both of those. I think the hardest part now, which is a good problem to have in the Democratic Party, is, or for Democratic clubs, is that there's so many different clubs that are meeting on the same night that people have to make choices. And we're just hoping that they choose our club whenever they can to attend. So a lot of times we'll have people that show up at multiple clubs and participate as a member. Last year, we had 7 general meetings and 2 informative meetings. This is in large part, obviously, because of the election. A lot of the board members and participants are active in the South Bay politics, and so elected officials such as Nora Vargas and Andrea Castellanos. Cardenas, sorry, wrong last name. So we're making her story. We supported historical elections for club memberships, electing the first Latina, the first woman of color, the first immigrant to the Board of Supervisors. Like I said, Nora Vargas was one of our original members, and we supported her during her campaign, as well as Andrea Cardenas, who is also was successful at her bid for Chula Vista and getting rid of Mike Diaz. Some of our victories are listed out here. All of our 2020 endorsed candidates won their seats. We helped elect 4 members of the Latina Democratic, we've helped elect 4 of our members from the Latina Democratic Club. We've also recruited Latinos to run for office at any level, from being on the Board of Commissions or promoting ADEMs. And we've, such as Kate Bishop, I believe Kate is on the call today. So congrats to you for your win. We also have updated our bylaws and made sure that they were conducive for our goals in the Latina Democratic Club. Communications, we have an Instagram account as well as a Facebook account. The Instagram account has 160 followers and our Facebook has 416. We use MailChimp to communicate with our members, as well as Facebook, and we try and be as versatile as possible when it comes to communication, so we can get as many people attending our meetings as possible. For our civic engagement and partnerships were, we canvassed for our endorsed candidates as well as phone banked, and we participated with other clubs to host phone banks for endorsed candidates. Lastly, again, I just want to reiterate, thank you so much for your consideration. 2020 has been a difficult year, and yet at the same time, I think we've seen a lot of improvement in our expansion of the club, and as well as the being innovative in the ways that we can help candidates, like all of the other clubs that have gone before us. But I wanted to, again, because we are such a new club, I want, on behalf of the Latina Democratic Club, I wanted to thank you for your consideration for this amazing award. If you have any questions, please let me know. I don't hear any.
All right, thanks, Melinda. Does anyone have any questions?
I can't raise my hand, Cody, but I had a question.
Oh yeah,
Sorry about that.
I think Tamika has her hand raised, so I'll have her go first and then you, Andrea.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, Tamika.
Thank you again. Good morning, everybody. My question, just like the previous question, was how diverse is the board? And since it's Latina Democratic Club, how diverse is it for the board as what regions of the Latinas that they come from Latin America that they come from?
Melinda, you're muted.
It's habit so that I don't make a lot of noise. I believe we're all Mexican American on the e-board, which is understandable considering the number of Mexican Americans that we have in San Diego, specifically, well, Southern California specifically in San Diego. But that doesn't, that's not prohibitive of people becoming members of the e-board. As far as the diversity of the area, I'm from North County. Brenda, I believe, is from East County, or actually, I don't think we have anybody from East County. The majority of them are from the South Bay area. So, like I said, we're a newer club, so getting our e-board membership to what area their people are from isn't something that is considered in being a member of the e-board as to what area you're representing. But since it's an affinity club similar to the MLK club, we have members from all over the county, and that are helping elect Latinas all over the county. If that answers your question.
I think I saw, was it Sinar or someone in the comments said Devana's parents are from Ecuador. So
both of her parents?
I don't know. That's what.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, good to know. It's not. Yeah, that's an assumption on my part, I guess. It's not. Yeah. Sorry.
And I think Brenda mentioned that 2 of the board members are LGBTQ. So I don't know if you can see the chat. That's just why I'm reading that too, because I know I have trouble seeing the chat when I'm sharing my screen. So
yeah, no, I appreciate that. Where the chat is, okay, there we go. Yes. Oh, and Tiffany Gonzalez is Afro-Latina. So I am a member at large. I'm not the president, so apologize if I'm not been able to answer the specific questions. Luckily, Brenda's always playing backup.
Heather had her hand raised. I don't know if her question was answered, or Heather, if you wanted to ask something.
Codi. Melinda, congratulations. Really nice presentation. Hey, on the slide, I didn't quite get everything. So I understand you grew by 77 members. I think your Insta was 160 and Facebook was 416. You mentioned one other thing that you used for communication, but the slide just went away before I could get to it. Was it MailChimp, or are you using, was it MailChimp or Twitter, or?
It was MailChimp, yeah.
It was MailChimp. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
There, I think this is the slide you were looking for.
Yes, excellent. Thank you so much.
So I have a tendency to talk fast.
Also, I just forgot I was supposed to call on Andrea. So Andrea.
Oh yeah, that's right. Andrea,
did you?
Oh, no problem. I wanted to add also that Griselda's from East County when we were talking about, yeah, and I believe both of Devana's parents came from Ecuador to Mexico, and then they eventually came here. So anyways, moving on. I want to start off by first of all thanking this club, because I've been a part of a lot of spaces over the year, democratic spaces, and it was really nice to have such an inclusive and welcoming club to be a part of this last year and a half with everything that's been happening. And as I was running for office, you know, it's something that I think that it's it's really difficult to be a woman of color running for anything, for many reasons, right? But it was really important to have that kind of safe space for me. So I really want to thank you all for that. I wanted to ask, is there, I know that, like Melinda, you're from North County, Griselda's from East County. Is there any like plans for you all to like expand a little bit more in your membership, or like where you all will be like targeting? I know that you were all really helpful in South County this time around, but is there any like future plans? And if you don't know that directly, that's totally okay. I was just kind of curious.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Andrea, for such an excellent question. So yes, so the idea is we grow our membership in each of the different areas similar to that of the party, right? So North Inland, North Coastal, Metro West, Metro West, East County, and South County, so that we can get 20 new members in each of those counties and get associate members and do something similar to what the Progressive Dems have done, where they have different chapters, and then we can expand that way. But it's been difficult. A lot of our members are active within with different campaigns and wear many different hats, which is typical for all of us, right? All of us are trying to have great ideas and take action, and then it's just a matter of how do we expand that. So, but yes, in the near future, we would like to model ourselves similar to that of the Progressive Dems and have different chapters in each of the areas. So excellent question. And then, oh wait, let me just add, and then in those chapters, help Latinas specifically in each of those communities to be elected into office.
Great. I see a question from Justin.
Hey, Melinda.
Hi, Justin.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Melinda, you are one of my favorite people. I want to know, what is one of your best memories from the 2020 year of something that your club has worked on or you've done through the club? Like, what's something that just, if you're having a bad day, you remember that day in the club and it just kind of refills you? What would that be?
I think in organizing to help, we endorsed Nora pretty early. And so one of the best memories was that as one of the clubs that endorsed Nora and was supporting her, that we were able to, or when we found out that the party had endorsed her, and so it was confirmed our participation of her. It was confirmed our endorsement of her and support of her. Also, I would say it's hard to pinpoint. I hate to be typical, but it's hard to pinpoint one event. I think that we do the social hour, preceding our meetings, and so social half hour, preceding our meetings, and so we get to hear what everybody's doing. And because, like I said, I'm friends with people that I would normally see on a regular basis. Like, I don't see them in my area caucus meetings because I'm from the North area and people are from the East or from the South area, et cetera. And so we getting to socialize with people and hear what's going on and what the new events are really, it's a way to connect, similar to the way when we do that on the Espinoza Dems social hour. So those are my two favorites.
All right, and then I see a question from Nadia.
Hi, Melinda.
Hi, Nadia, how are you?
Good. So I was invited to the Latina Club and I was super excited the first time. And I remember distinctly, I had told Brenda that I couldn't come because I'm a mother. I have 2 small children. And the best response was, bring your kids, it's all inclusive. And I got to bring my kids. Can you just touch on how wonderful your policy is that we get to bring our kids and acknowledge the fact that some of us are parents? I'm just going to say parents in general, not mother or father. Mm-hmm. And how important it is for us to be able to have that space to have our kids participate.
Thank you for bringing that up. I think that that's one of the ways that we differentiate, because as the Latina Dems, a lot of us are mothers or our aunties or have have children, young children that your children in general that we're caring for. And because of that, there's a lot of not just empathy, but sympathy for the situations, like the decisions that mothers or parents in general have to make between attending a meeting or, you know, and having childcare, or even just being apart from your child. So yeah, so that's one of our policies. I'm so glad that Nadia, that you experienced that and are speaking to it today. But that's one of the benefits. And we talk about women lead differently. I'm an emerge graduate from 2017. We talk about how when females are in leadership positions, we tend to lead differently than our male counterparts, because they fit the stereotype of, you know, you keep work at work and home at home, and there's no flexibility. And so I'm glad that you were able to take advantage of that, and I'm hopeful that other parents will see that benefit, and once we get to meet in real life, we'll feel comfortable as you did in bringing your children to our meetings.
All right. So we've had some questions for Latina Dems. I also want to open it up to see if there were any further questions for all three clubs, or if there were any questions for the first two that anyone missed that they wanted to ask. Tamika?
I just want to ask the Progressive Dem Club the same question that I asked the other two about diversity on their e-board.
Melinda, if you want to stop sharing your screen.
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
How do I? Yes. There we go.
Okay, so Tamika asked about diversity of the board for Progressive Dems. Kevin, are you there?
Yeah. I have a good idea for the main club e-board. When we incorporate the chapter boards, though, it's a lot more diverse, I'd have to say. Let me take a really quick look at our e-board. Let's see here. All right, so giving really quick numbers, I'd say when it comes to the main club's e-board, it looks like, 6 of us are white. We do have, we have 2 Black members, 2 Black women. That would be our North Chapter Chair and our communications. We have 2 Latinx members, and actually, it's more than that if you account for the chapter chairs as well, or sorry, chapter officers, I should say. We have one Filipino member of our board, 2 API members, including chapters, as well as the main board, and then we have one SWANA e-board member, that being our membership chair, SWANA being Southwest Asia North Africa, who is also Muslim, and that's all I have for you, Tamika. I hope that answered your question.
All right, thanks, Kevin. I see Brenda's hand raised.
May I say something? If it's in relation to my apologies.
Are you speaking on behalf of the Progressive Dem Club, or?
Yeah, I am a member of it, and I am the AD 78 delegate.
Okay.
I just wanted to say Widad is from Iraq. I am an Arab American and of Muslim background.
Okay,
That's
thank
all
you.
I wanted to say. Thank you.
Next time, if we can have folks raise their hands, they have a comment unless they are a club officer speaking about the club. Brenda, your hand was raised.
Hi, everyone. Brenda Aguirre, she, hers, ella. I am the vice president and one of the founders of Latina Democratic Club. I want to thank Melinda for stepping up and doing the presentation. It's my birthday today, and thank you everyone in the chat for saying happy birthday. So I was, staying in the background a little bit since I'm driving. So thank you very much, Melinda, for helping up and stepping up and helping Griselda with the presentation. We are a small club. How it became about was me as a Latina immigrant and LGBTQ member was attacked in the street one day, and I felt that I did not have representation out there, and I wanted to make sure that I build a club that would allow people like me to step up in leadership roles. After founding the club, I became a commissioner for the city of Chula Vista. I was just elected ADEMS, I'm in central committee. There's a lot of empowerment between our members and our board. We've had amazing meetings. We had a beautiful space in art gallery in Chula Vista where we had meetings. And then after our meetings, we had amazing food truck outside, bring us food in and had a wonderful time. And I'm forever grateful for our diverse membership, because we don't just have Latinas, we don't just have women in our board. It's really inclusive, and we have babies come in and we have pets come in, and I've loved every single minute of it. And I just want to say that I'm very grateful to everyone that has been supported and that nominated us for this award, seeing that we're such a small baby club still, and we have a lot of work to do. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Brenda. I see Andrea has her hand raised.
Hi, yeah, so I wanted to actually click on something, piggybacking off a little bit, what's the right way to say that term? Anyways, of something that was mentioned by Brenda right now. And that's there's obviously everybody has different identities. And I know that the Latina Dems have now touched upon a few ways that they deal with those intersectionality of identities, like being a mother or being an immigrant or whatever that may be. But my question is, and for all of three clubs, how do you deal with the intersectionality of identities within your membership, or acknowledging that, or to be more inclusive of that?
So that's a question for the other clubs, or for
all three of them can answer. I don't know if it just was triggered by something that Brenda said, but I was just wondering all across.
Yeah, okay, so let's see. Kevin, do you want to answer that first? Available.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Andrea, do you want to just briefly restate it?
Sure. So I guess in simpler terms, how do you aim to be more inclusive of intersectional identities within your membership or even your board?
No, it's a good question. It's really, I shouldn't say balance, because as president, I should be recruiting, and I should be looking when we have officer transitions. I should always be looking to make our leadership more diverse and more intersectional. At the same time, of course, we want to make the environment welcoming in a way where people from intersectional identities will want to run without being tapped, without being recruited. But if some don't see the club as that environment, even though I know that some do, it really is on the president. It really is on me to make sure that I am going out of my way and asking people if they'd ever be interested in running for club positions in the future, how they would want to be involved with the club. And it is really, the buck really does stop with the president to make sure that people from different identities are feeling more welcome to the point where they would want to run for leadership positions, or even just become a member. And I think, and another way to do that is to really diversify our program as well. Also reaching out to different community groups and advocacy groups, and letting them know that, hey, we want to put on this presentation. We want to shine a light. We want to shine a light on this group or shine a light on this struggle, whereas the club has not done in the past. That's definitely something I want to do. Part of our restructuring is I do want to make the club a lot more connected to the communities around us. I definitely want our chapters to be the hubs of, like, the geographic hubs of connecting with communities within their geographic regions, and then make the club welcoming in that way as well. So I hope that answers your question.
Great. And then Gloria and or Justin, would you like to answer that question for Escondido Young Dems?
Yeah, I can answer the question. So a good, or like, I think a good tactic that I try to go about using is like, okay, like, what do you guys want to hear? Or what do y'all want to hear? Or like, what issues do y'all care about? And just kind of asking our membership that. And just trying to be sensitive of like people's identities in regards to those issues. And I'll use immigration as an example. Like when we think about like immigration, in the mainstream, we think about like brown people, right? Like Latinos and the border wall, but immigration is so diverse. It branches over to the Middle East, like it branches over with our Black community. So that's just like one example of a way that like I try to be sensitive to making sure people feel included in conversations and issues that we are talking about. And I guess just having that sensitivity to people's intersectional struggles as well. And not many people, or not many, I guess in the mainstream, not many people like are aware of how diverse our immigrant communities are. So I guess that's just one example of a way I try to be sensitive. So asking our members, like, what issues do you want to hear about? And like, how can we do better about educating our communities on those issues? So that answers your question.
Great, thanks, Gloria. And then did Melinda and or Brenda want to add anything regarding Latina Dems?
I do. So this question reminds me of an e-board meeting that we had regarding membership forms and how each of the board members were trying to be inclusive, not just to making sure that the questions that we were asking for new members was relevant to the information that we needed in order to determine if they were going to be, that they're qualified to be members, but also making sure that people didn't have people that were non-English speaking or primarily Spanish speaking weren't concerned that we were going to do something with that information for, so immigrant status versus cultural status, like making sure that they if or different socioeconomic levels, so making sure that they didn't feel compelled to have certain degrees in order to, or education in order to become members, making sure that it was inclusive of people that weren't quite yet voting at the age of being able to vote, and that they could also be members. So when, I think that when you're directly affected by the different presumptions or assumptions that exist in our social structure or in our systemic racist system, you're more sensitive to people that that may feel concerned about the type of questions and how you're making them and how you're addressing issues. And so it's another level of analysis even just for filling out a Google form, right, with the different questions for membership. But it's important, you know, what I think, or what I have found as being a member of the Latina Dems, as being on the e-board, is that you just create a safe space so that people that are different are welcomed, and whatever that looks like, whether it be, you know, because they're a parent, because they're because of their immigration status, because of their gender identity, or because of their sexual orientation. It doesn't matter. Like, every bit, you have to first, as a body, create that safe space, and then from there you'll attract more people that are that are different than maybe you are, than what is typical, right? Where what people, I shouldn't even say that, just have different backgrounds, and I think truly all of us are pretty unique. It's just a matter of whether or not we feel safe enough to communicate that. And that's what I have found that's what I have found the culture to be in the Latina Dems, whether it be from your profession to your, you know, to who you love, or to what your family looks like, and to what your struggles are. So I encourage, I find it very welcoming, and to all different areas of people's backgrounds.
All right, thanks, Melinda. Okay, any other questions before we move on? You know, it's already 11:43, so. Okay, so I'm going to put in the link to vote. I'm gonna ask that folks make sure that they're supposed to be the one voting on behalf of their club. So if you are not the club president, please make sure that you're the one that they asked to vote on behalf of the club.
Cody, do we get to have a discussion about the vote, before the vote?
Misha, honestly, it's already almost 12, so I think we should just move forward. We've had a lot of questions and discussion around that, so I think no for now. And so I put the link in the chat. If anyone doesn't have access, I can either call on them, or you can text me your vote. We're gonna ask you to rank your choices 1 through 3. So again, your choices are the Latina Democratic Club, the Escondido Young Democrats, and the Progressive Democrats. If you want to say your vote out loud, you can go ahead and raise your hand if you're not able to access the form.
Does this require a supermajority vote?
No, it's ranked choice.
Okay.
I think that's the correct link. Is that the correct link? Yes, it is. So basically, you just put in your name, the club you're voting on behalf of, as in your own club, you know, that you're president of or were asked to vote on behalf of today. Put your top choice, then your second choice, then your third choice. There's no point in putting all 3 choices as the same club. That won't benefit anybody. So please make sure that those are different. And I'll leave that open for a few minutes.
Cody, are we doing announcements while the voting's going on?
Yep,
No.
I was about to get to that. I was gonna do that like last time during the tallying, but I want to make sure that everyone is able to get their votes in correctly.
I'm trying to text you.
Okay.
You don't have a regular ballot that I could mark?
I don't know I'm not sure what you mean by that, Michelle.
Where it comes up on my telephone and I can touch the person, the person that we're voting.
It's not on Zoom, no, it's on Google Forms.
Michelle, if you want, you can call me and I can fill it out for you. Do you want to do that? Can we do that?
Yeah, can you call me on one of my other phones?
Yeah, I'll call you, Michelle.
Cody? Cody?
Yes, Susan.
Hi, I can't do my ranked voting, so I'm happy to do it right now if you want to record it.
Yeah, so you're not able to use the link?
I got to fill in my name and it wouldn't let me fill in the club I'm from. So I couldn't get to the rest of the form.
That's weird. Is anyone else having that issue?
Well, I don't know why I did, but I did.
Okay, if you want to just state yours, or you can tap me or whatever you're comfortable.
I'm happy to state mine. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, 1 would be the Escondido Young Dems.
Okay.
2 would be the Progressive Dems, and 3 the Latina Dems.
Okay. Escondido Progressive Latina.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'm just gonna fill out the form on your behalf so that we have it in there.
Thank you. As part of the record, yes, thank you.
1 minute, folks. I know some of you have your hand raised. Sorry, Susan. It was Escondido, Latina, and then Progressive?
No, Escondido, Progressive, Escondido, Progressive, and Latina.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Escondido, Progressive, Latina. Okay, I've submitted that for you. And then I see Indroneal's hand is raised. Indro?
Cody, I was just gonna get in line, make an announcement. I can put on if that's
Okay,
that's
yeah.
fine.
I'll
Sorry
take
about
those in a minute. When I'm tallying the votes, I just want to make sure everyone is able to get their vote in first. So
That was my bad. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, you're totally fine. Does anyone else need assistance with filling out their ballot?
I can't fill mine. I don't see a ballot at all.
Okay, it's not a Zoom ballot. It's the link in the chat. I'm gonna put it in there again. Give me 1 minute. I'll paste it since other folks.
Ask Justin to call me on this phone. He's not getting through.
Justin, are you on the Zoom right now?
Yeah, I'm calling her.
Okay, don't call her iPhone, I think, because she's on it. Okay. And then Melinda and Brenda, which of you is voting on behalf of Latina Dems? If you both voted, I just need to know which of your votes I'm counting, because it's not my decision to make.
Can go ahead and take Brenda's vote.
Okay. Okay, has anyone not voted yet? Suzanne, were you able to use the link in the chat?
No.
Okay, would you like to either send me a message with your vote, or would you like to verbalize your vote?
I'll verbalize my vote.
Okay, and which club are you voting on behalf of?
East County Democratic Club.
Okay, and which club is your first choice?
The Escondido Young Dems.
And your second choice?
Latinas.
Okay, and then Progressive, your third?
Yes.
All right, I've submitted a vote on your behalf. Does anyone else need help filling out their ballot? Please raise your hand or unmute if you need to. Is anyone still working on filling out their ballot? If not, I'm going to close the vote. So I see Michelle was able to vote. So okay, I'm going to close it out now. And now, Jehoan, are you on? Jehoan, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, great.
I'm here, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Can you help facilitate announcements?
Yeah, I can do that.
I'll go ahead and let you do that while I go through and look at the ballots.
All right, everyone, if you have announcements, please put your hands up and I'll be calling on you. So I see Kate Bishop.
Hello, thank you so much for this opportunity. Kate Bishop, she, her, hers. I am the new president of the San Diego Democratic Education Alliance. And we're gonna have our next meeting on the 28th at 2 p.m. And I hope that you can join us. We will be considering 79th endorsement. We will also be doing a segment led by Dr. Luana Richmond about Black educators as in a celebration of Black History Month. But I also want to put on my other hat and point out that on Monday, this Monday, beginning at 6:30, the South chapter of the Progressive Democratic Club is actually going to have a panel that we've been trying to do for a while called Progressives of Faith. We're going to be talking to people from different religions, talking about how their religious beliefs interact with their progressive beliefs and their existence in progressive circles. It's going to be a really interesting conversation, and I hope you can all join us. Go to the South chapter of Progressive Democrats to get the Zoom link. I need to find the link first. I'm so sorry.
Cool. All right, thank you. The person that is next, give me 1 second, is Dr. Indroneal.
Hey, thanks, everyone. So can everyone hear me okay? The mic's been kind of weird. Just okay. So yesterday was a bit of an auspicious day for both our party and for our country. Yesterday was February 19, which is the 79th anniversary of the signing of Order 9066, which FDR signed to intern these Americans during World War II. The reason why I bring this up is yesterday an 81-year-old Japanese woman called me about the Dem Club. I want to find out more. We got to talking, and she turned out she was interned. And the other reason why I want to bring up is that many of us have read about Asian American hate crimes in the last couple of weeks, and both personal for me because having been on the receiving end of some of these things, and professional because I'm the president of the API Dem Club. So many have been posting online. I want to thank you for that. But given that this is club leadership for the county, I want to point out that on Thursday, February 25th at 5:15 p.m., the California Commission on Asian Pacific Islander Affairs is going to be meeting and they'll be talking about API hate crimes in the past, in recent history. They're going to be talking about COVID and its impact on the Asian American community and many amazing allies, the Asian community, the Pacific Islander community. And so this is just another way of amplifying that. So I'll put the link in the chat. And again, I want to thank many of you who've been posting on social media, talking about this and bringing this to the forefront because on a personal level, it'd be really enough my mom could wear a sari in public and not worry about being attacked. So thank you. I will put that in the chat.
All right, awesome. After that, we have David Myers.
Thank you. How's everyone? Good to see everybody. We haven't seen each other in a long time. What I want to do is bring awareness to the current situation in our jails and the jail deaths in San Diego County. The jails that are being run by the current sheriff have the highest rate of inmate mortality than any jails in the state of California. 80% of the jail deaths are members from the Black and brown community, and they have not been convicted of a crime. Millions of dollars are paid out in claims when that money can be used to fund programs that are alternatives to custody. We really don't know what's going on in the jails because the sheriff has been extremely secret about it. Recently, CLRB, the County Law Enforcement Review Board, created a subcommittee to look into the San Diego jail deaths. But this is the same County Law Enforcement Review Board that recently dismissed 22 jail death cases without investigating because they say they did not have time to review them. Currently, the CLRB board does not even have the expertise to review jail death cases. The Women's Democratic Club recently is spearheading an effort to request from our local state elected officials a complete audit, a state audit of the county jail system. And if your club would like any type of an update or briefing specifically to the jail deaths and the issues of COVID in custody, I'd be more than happy to attend your meetings and give an update on that. And if your clubs would like to also be a part of any type of request regarding the jail deaths. I'll put my email in the chat if anybody wants to email me.
All right, thank you so much, Dave. Is your announcement finished?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Next is Widad.
Yes, thank you. My name is Widad Shlota, Vice President of the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee and Assembly District 78 Delegate. Thank you for all of you who voted for me and my Slate grassroots community. I would like to announce a webinar on Arab American Studies is Ethnic Studies. That's the name of it. Jewish educators say yes to liberatory ethnic studies. It's on Thursday, February 25th at 5 p.m. Pacific times. The title talks about ethnic studies is under attack. Anti-racist and liberatory ethnic studies is being attacked for being too critical of United States history, too centered on the stories of the most marginalized communities and not patriotic enough. The issues presented will address why Arab American studies, including Palestine, is central to ethnic studies, and the difference between anti-Semitism and criticism of Israel and why it matters. The people participating in this is ethnic studies instructor Margot Goldstein, Arab Jewish world history teacher Yahya Kaji, African American studies professors Ali Klubin, and more. And I would like to end it with a quote by Jeff Duncan Andrade, a professor of Latina studies and race and resistance studies. He says, if we can find the courage to tell our children the truth, they can begin to solve some of the world's most intractable problems. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you at the webinar on Arab American Studies, and I will put the link. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. The person who's next is Justin.
Oh, hello. So I think I announced this last month and a few other places. I have found 5 complexes, well, 3 complexes and 2 landlords that will take Section 8 vouchers for a community that's being displaced in the North Inland area and San Marcos. I have called over 180 places. So it's out of 180, I found 5 that will take Section 8 housing vouchers. So I'm very excited that I found 5. That honestly feels like a miracle. I know that seems like a low number, but anyone who works with housing will tell you it is it's like finding a needle in a haystack. So I'm very happy that I will be helping out some people find new homes because they're being forced out by greedy developers, and this is very wrong. So I'm really happy to do that part. This list is still ongoing, so if any of you are from outside of the North area inland, I would love to collaborate with you personally to grow this list, so that way people who are low income on Section 8 housing vouchers can have a backup plan in their areas too, because for a lot of low income people, if their complex no longer works out or if their paperwork doesn't fly with the new landlord, they face homelessness. And so if we can make this resource a living document, that would be great. I can put my email in the chat, but please reach out so we can build a safety net for our most marginalized. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Person who's next is Kevin.
Hello. So I'm putting this in the chat. Excuse me, putting this in the chat right now. But our next progressive club meeting, Kate said South chapters on Monday. Awesome. So the next full club meeting is going to be on March 8th. Credentialing at 6:30. We're going to be having our endorsement for chair of the California Democratic Party. And then also this coming Wednesday, our West chapter is going to be having a pre-endorsement for the AD 79 race for Assembly District 79. I'll find that Facebook event in a moment, but that's pretty much it. This Monday, this coming Wednesday, and March 8th are our next 3 events coming. Awesome. So I'll see you there, and thank you.
Sorry, I was muted. Thanks, Kevin. Next one, and sorry if I mispronounce it. Narima?
Hi. Narima Lopez, president of the Encinitas and North Coast Democratic Club. I just want to make an announcement that our club meeting on March the 6th will feature Patricia Sine, who is on the Redistricting Commission, and she's going to be talking about redistricting overview. So if any of you are interested, it's March the 6th at 12:30 via Zoom. I will post the Zoom link in the SDCDP calendar. If you don't find it there, then please go to our website, encdc.org, and shoot me an email. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then we have Michelle.
Hi, am I unmuted? Yeah, I guess I am. I actually just wanted to say that I know when Kevin spoke for the progressive, I was thinking we would have a chance to I just want to give them kudos for the progressive club and Kevin specifically. And that comes from the top. Naomi and John Tren have been amazing as well, but it absolutely comes from the leadership that the club has been the most accessible. Kevin has just gone out of his way constantly to make sure that I had access to getting into club meetings. And that is not, again, has not been a safe harbor in the Democratic Party. And I just wanted to acknowledge that and to share my appreciation for that. And I'm glad the next meeting is on International Women's Day, March 8th. Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle. Are there any other announcements? Nope. Well, Codi, are you available now?
I am. Thank you, Jehoan. I'm going to share my screen. One moment. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? I'll take that as a yes.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Oops. Escondido Young.
Somebody,
what happened?
I said somebody's making smoothies.
No, it was a drum roll. And that was a applause for our winners.
Thank you all so much. Can I say some words, Codi? I just kind of like piped in.
Could you please read the numbers, because I can't see what's on the screen.
All it says on the screen is congratulations. Escondido Young done.
Okay.
Gloria, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you all so much for like your votes of confidence. I think like how I mentioned before earlier when Wayne had asked how we found it, we really just like found it in 2019 right after like the 2018 congressional race that we had here in the 50th, and we just wanted to keep moving because we know it's not just about one candidate, it's about all of us. To quote Bernie Sanders, not me, not us, not me, us. And so, yeah, I'm so happy right now. I'm gonna cry. You can't see me, and I look like a hot mess. But yeah, thank you all so much for your votes of confidence. Our members are gonna be so happy to hear this.
All right, thanks, Gloria. So I'll go ahead and just let you know, in the first round, we had 19 votes for the Escondido Young Dems, which actually, is over half, 54%. So that was it. It was quick and easy. So, and there were, there were 9 first choice votes for Progressive Dems and 7 for the Latina Dems. So thanks everyone for participating. Congratulations again to the Escondido Young Dems. And I don't know what's going on with Roosevelt this year, but typically you get, you know, a table or whatever the virtual equivalent of is for Club of the Year. And that's one of the perks. So I'm sure we'll learn more about that later from our esteemed chair. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead to the next slide here. I have some reminders again for our clubs. So please provide a recurring Zoom link for your club. Either that or you'll have to provide a new Zoom link every month to the party, because that is the location of your meeting and you are required to provide that to the county party. And we put that on the party calendar. So when folks go to, you know, sddemocrats.org/calendar, that's where that goes. A lot of folks have been reaching out, so thank you for doing that. If you don't currently have access to edit the Google Calendar item for your club on the party's calendar, please email the county party calendar@sddemocrats.org. If they are not me, but I can, you know, if you need, I can direct you to the party staff, but the party staff are the ones that run the calendar, and they can share your club's calendar item with your Gmail account, your Google account, so that you can edit it yourself moving forward. So if you don't currently have access to that, please email and we can help you get set up with that. And by we, I mean the party staff, and I can help connect you if you need, or if you haven't heard back and you need help following up with them, I'm happy to do that as well.
Thank you, Codi.
Yes, of course. And the benefit of that is if your meeting gets canceled, or you need to change the date or the Zoom link, or if you want to add a link to your agenda or anything else, you can put that in the party calendar. And I think that'd be really helpful for folks, especially for our candidates that, you know, try to plan out getting to all the clubs when that comes back around. And that is your homework. If I need everyone here, every club president, please check the party calendar to make sure that your meeting is correctly reflected with the Zoom link, the date, and the time. And that will really help us make sure that everything is up to date. And if you need access to edit it, email the party calendar@sddemocrats.org. I receive a copy of that and the party staff, so that's the best way to get that done. And then do I have any questions about this? Kevin?
Yeah, I emailed the calendar email think 1 to 2 weeks ago. So if any party staff are on this call, it'd be great if you could check that email. Yeah, Progressive Club, basically we just need access to our chapter events. We have the main club event every second Monday. That's already good. We just need access to the chapter events. So if someone could take a look at that, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'll touch in with them about that, Kevin. Anyone else? Any questions?
I've tried to get them to do something, and we need some help with that also from you, Codi.
Yeah, did you see I responded to your email, Sess?
Which one? The first one or the second?
Email, or I don't know. I think I only saw one email from you, but I added in the stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've already talked to them, and nothing's gotten sorted out. So, so I'd like you to follow up on that.
I have been doing my best here, folks. Just know I do not have control of this, so I do my best to reach out to the staff on your behalf, and we'll get it done as quickly as we can. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. That is it for this meeting. Thank you everyone for attending and voting. And again, if you haven't had the chance yet, please fill out that link to provide suggested meeting topics. It's in the newsletter as well that I believe everyone should be signed up for. If you're not, let me know. But yeah. Thanks for being here. Have a good rest of your Saturday. And if you're on the Club Dev Committee, if you could stay on